Welcome everyone to the Healing Power of Plant Foods cooking class. I'm April, and in the kitchen with me tonight is Kayla, and we're super excited to have you here with me tonight. And I think all of you are new, right? No. You're all new? No. Oh, you've been here. Okay. I can't remember what I asked. Did I ask who's been here before or who's here for the first time? So you guys have been here before. Awesome. Well, welcome back, and welcome to all you newbies. It's great to have you. This is the Healing Power of Plant Foods cooking class, and there truly is healing power in plant foods. And my message in my classes is to eat more, not what to exclude, but what to include to have greater health. More fruits, more vegetables, more whole grains, more legumes, some nuts and seeds, and because we all kind of know what we probably should be reducing in our diet, right? So, and I've been teaching cooking classes since 2005. I've been preparing and eating a whole food plant-based diet since 1991 and love it, have learned the benefits of it, and have met so many people who have had great benefits from eating more of a plant-based diet. And so I've, over the years, have heard other people's experience and have heard their success stories of getting off medications and reversing chronic diseases and reducing inflammation, and it's just so exciting to me. I come from a standard American family who ate the standard American diet, and they've all gotten the standard American diseases: heart disease, diabetes. Both my parents died of cancer, and I decided back in my early 20s that I wanted to do something different, and I got heavily into exercise and thought that was my key to good health, and realized down the road that I needed to improve my diet. I was eating a fairly healthy standard American diet, but it needed some refining. And just over the years, I just a little healthier, made some changes. But when I moved to a whole food plant-based diet, my world changed. My energy went from 0 to 10, and I loved it. And I love the food. I love how I feel, and it's just a cleaner way to eat. And so I just encourage other people to move in that direction. More whole foods, more plant foods. They're the best foods on the planet. So, and the key to enjoying your food, of course, is making the food taste good. And that's what I'm here to do tonight, is to show you some recipes that I have used over the years and that love. And I've been doing, like I say, I've been doing two cooking classes since 2005, and really love it. So tonight we're doing an October fall menu, and all of these foods tonight are good that can be used, of course, in your Thanksgiving meal as well. So I like to do that with my October menu. So we're going to be doing a stuffed winter squash. If you don't have recipes, there's some up on the table there, and there's also a bunch of flyers. Feel free to grab what you want. And if there's anything, I should be well stocked on everything, but there were a few things I kind of got low in, and I was going to have community education print more for me. And they thought they did it, but they didn't do it. So anyway, so if there's anything that's not up there that you're wanting a copy of, just let me know. You can email me. My email's on the bottom of your recipe sheet. It should be, I think, and I will send those out to you. Do you have, probably on the back, don't just feed your body, nourish it, contact me. Maybe it's not on there. No, not on there. Okay, well, if you want my email address for any reason, just let me know. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and start with our stuffing, our stuffed winter squash with lentils and kale. Kale is my favorite food. Pretty much, I use it pretty much every day. Love it. It's the healthiest food on the planet. So while I'm demonstrating what I'm doing, I'm going to be talking about the foods and why they're so good for us. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to just speak up. I'm busy doing this, so I probably won't see a hand. So just go ahead and speak up. And any questions, I love questions, because that often reminds me of something that I may want to talk about. And so yeah, just feel free. Okay, we're going to start off with our onion. Actually, a couple onions. And these are this is 2 medium onions. These are relatively small. That's just what was in my bag. So I'm just using 2 kind of small to medium onions. Onions have organosulfur compounds, and we experience these every time we cut open an onion, right? A whole onion like this doesn't have really any smell much at all. As soon as we cut that open, those organosulfuric compounds become activated. And the more you chop, the more you chew, the more those compounds become activated and are powerful anti-cancer compounds in your body. They're anti-inflammatory, and they help to detoxify carcinogens, halting cancer cell growth. A large European study showed that people who eat the most onions had the least cancers of all types. Raw, of course, is best. Thank you. But the cooked is good as well. But one thing about cooked is you lose some of the good compounds, but you keep some of the other ones. So what you want to do, and when those compounds come together, they create these anti-cancer compounds. So what you want to do is, with your cooked meal, have a little salad on the side that's got some raw in it with it, and then that will bring in that component that's lost in cooking. And of course, you're getting it from the raw anyway, the whole thing. So I'm going to use my Vidalia Chop Wizard to chop my onions, and I use this to chop pretty much anything. I love it. It's so fast, so quick, so easy. We're going to use it to chop the apples for the apple pie, which, by the way, I do want to demo a little bit of the apples, so maybe don't do all of them. Maybe just do part of them. Okay, so we're just going to take our onion. I do cut it in half, and there's no more tears when you're chopping with a Chop Wizard. And the great thing about this, it's got a little measuring cup on the side here. I don't sell them. I don't get paid by the company. I just love them. I've been using this thing since about 2000. Wood spoon, please. In probably this drawer right here. Maybe one of those drawers, or maybe this drawer right here. This should be, oh, there's one right there. I knew there's somewhere. Oh, that one's kind of square. Let's go around one. Yeah, there you go. I've had this, or not this chopper, but I've been using this chopper since about 2009 or 10. I had one for many years. Somebody gave it to me, and I stuck it in my drawer and never used it, and then I hurt my shoulder and couldn't chop very well, so I got it out and started using it, and I'm like, where has this thing been? I need to be using it because it's very, very handy. So we're going to go with another onion here. I'm going to put that off to the side so you guys can see better. And again, the more you chop that onion, the more those compounds come out. Let's see, so I'll have you wash that, and then you can do it with the apple. Huh?
Are you using the oil right now to keep your onion from sticking?
I'm not. Thanks for asking. So I don't have anything in the bottom of my pan. I don't know if you can see on your monitor. Yeah, you can barely see, but you can see. There's nothing in the bottom of my pan. I do have this. This is a pretty decent stainless steel pan, but I don't have anything on the bottom. It's not sticking yet. It will start to a little bit, but we want to get it a little bit brown. But I don't use any oil ever. It's 120 calories, a tablespoon of pure 100% fat. It's the highest calorie, lowest nutrient food that we consume. It increases inflammation in the body. In fact, I have heard by a rheumatoid specialist who helps people reverse their rheumatoid arthritis, call it an inflammatory bomb. So if you've got any inflammatory issues in your body, oil will increase inflammation. So where do we get our fats? Nuts, seeds, avocados, olives, not olive oil, but olives. The great thing about, well, let me tell you where that information comes from. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, well, there's many actually that teach the no oil thing, but he's the director of preventive cardiology at the Cleveland Clinic, and he has a 98% success rate in cleaning out people's arteries who are on the list for bypass surgery. They come to him and they say, hey doc, I don't want to have my chest cut open and my arteries moved around. I want to clean out my arteries with food. And he works with them and it happens. He tells them no oil, absolutely no oil. What oil does is it damages your endothelial cells that line your arteries, and those endothelial cells produce a gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the most powerful blood vessel dilator meaning it opens up your blood vessels and keeps your blood flowing smoothly. When you put olive oil or any kind of oil in your body, it greatly inhibits that process. Olive oil is actually pretty high, like 29% saturated fat, which we know isn't good for us. So again, you can still see I don't have any oil, and it's not burning. I mean, I kind of keep adjusting my flame. I just have a conventional stove. I don't have gas, so I'm always having to adjust this. But I don't want you to believe me about all that. I want you to go, you've got a list. I hope I have a list on the back of your April's favorites. I think Become Heart Attack Proof is listed there. Go to his website, go to YouTube, listen to him. You can listen to him all day long. There's lectures all over from him about that, and he describes that much better than I just did. They did the tourniquet test on the blood vessel with the carotid artery, or the artery in your arm, and it showed, when they did that test, it showed that a meal with olive oil slowed blood flow just as much as butter. And in fact, within 4 hours, blood flow slowed 40%. And then once it starts to improve and get better, then you go and have another meal that's got oil, and it just shuts that down again. So what happens when it starts to get a little bit brown, and it's not even getting brown yet. I guess I've got that fairly low. But when it starts to get a little bit brown, which is the caramelizing of the onion, then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of water. And just to kind of loosen that off there, and some of that browning is going to come into your dish and add some flavor. You can add a little bit more. We're going to need to add some anyway because we're going to cook some kale. And then we're going to add some garlic. 2 cloves of garlic. Garlic has the same compounds as your onion, organosulfur compounds. And they are great for killing cancers, all types, again. And then with our onions, we're going to go ahead and add some mushrooms. And these are baby bellas or cremini mushrooms. I get them at Costco. And I've got about 3 cups here. I've got them sliced and kind of chopped a little bit. I like having kind of chunks of mushroom, but you can chop them really fine, or you can just leave them out. But you don't want to leave them out because you want to eat mushrooms. They too have some powerful anti-cancer compounds. In fact, 1 button mushroom a day, some studies out of China showed that 1 button mushroom a day cuts the risk of breast cancer by 64%. 1 white button mushroom a day, 64%. When they drank green tea with that, it bumped it up to 89%. 1 button mushroom, a little white button mushroom, just one a day. And if you have green tea with that, it bumps it up to 89%. I'm having a hard time with this burner in my heat. Mushrooms contain an estrogen blocker that keeps estrogen levels low. They have angiogenesis inhibitors that keeps tumors from spreading to other parts of the body. They stimulate immune function. We're heading right into cold and flu season. It helps to boost your immune system and just stimulate it so it's working good. They contain 22 proteins that lower cholesterol and blood pressure at the same time. They function like probiotics, good for your gut. The best thing for your gut is lots of fiber, and mushrooms have natural probiotics in them, bacteria. In fact, all foods actually do. Let's see, decrease inflammation in the digestive tract. So that's going to help you with your gut health and all of that. Okay, so to this, we're going to add some celery. We're going to add about 1 cup of celery, which is probably more than I need there. And I just like to slice my celery because that's kind of what you do for stuffing, is sliced celery. And you can chop it if you want, but I prefer it sliced in this, and you could use your chopper if you wanted, but a knife works good. And I can't really tell you much about celery. I know it's high in minerals. It's good for your bones, but so is kale. And if you get a little bit more than 1 cup, it's okay. That's probably a little more than 1 cup. That's okay, because I like celery. All right, then we're going to move over to our kale and get that chopped. Kale is a green leafy vegetable. Obviously, it's a cruciferous vegetable. Cruciferous vegetables have the most powerful effects on cancer of all greens. Super, super high in antioxidants. So this is the curly leaf kale, and I was washing it tonight, and it was like kind of just falling off the stem. So, but I wanted to preserve one of the stems just so I make sure I know everybody knows here what a curly leaf kale looks like. So we're just going to pull the leaves off the stem here and chop it. And when I'm making a dish like this one that's got chunky things in it, celery and onion, I don't worry too much about getting all of the stem off, because the stem, to me, in my head, is the bloodline to the plant. So there's some good nutritional value in that stem, and I don't like to waste anyway. And curly leaf kale, as you probably know, is a little bit squirrely, a little bit hard to work with sometimes, a little bit hard to chop up. So I just put it all in a little stack here and kind of crunch it around, give it a little massage, squish it, and get it to where it's nice and compact, and then I cut it. And that just helps it. And when you mush it a little bit, it just kind of helps it stay in place. So cruciferous vegetables increase liver's ability to detoxify, to remove toxins from your body. Green leafy vegetables stimulate immune function, just like your mushrooms do. So you're eating mushrooms and greens. Cruciferous vegetables give you double the protection from cancer. Women who eat a cup of cruciferous vegetables a day cut the risk of breast cancer by 50%. Men who eat 3 servings of cruciferous vegetables a week cut their risk of prostate cancer by 34%. So if they were eating it every day, it would probably be up there by 50% as well. And it protects your body from carcinogens up to 2 weeks after you've eaten it. So 2 weeks from now, after you have this kale, it's still going to be working in your body to protect you. And that's cruciferous vegetables. And cruciferous vegetables include not just kale, but collards and broccoli, cabbage, arugula, watercress, let's see what else, Brussels sprouts. Your most powerful effect comes from your raw, so if you can get some raw salad in with some cruciferous vegetables. I love kale salads. You can use, of course, cabbage, which is more likely to be in your salads. However, like the onion, you lose a compound when you cook it. So there's, I can't think of the name, but anyway, there's 2 major compounds that are responsible for the anti-cancer effects. And when you cook them, you are destroying the one, but if you bring in some raw into your meal, you are able to absorb all those compounds. And it's dose dependent. Cruciferous vegetables, the more you eat, the more protection you get. So don't stop at 50% less breast cancer. Eat it every day, or eat 2 cups every day, and you'll bump that up to 100% maybe. I don't know. That's just my guess. With 1 cup, 2 cups makes it even better. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just add this to our pot. And just give it a stir. We're going to add a little bit more water. And we want to add just enough so we can get that kale cooked down. Okay, I'm going to try to keep an eye on that. Maybe you can help me. So it doesn't get too that ugly green. That means it's just cooked a little bit too much. So, all right, we're going to wait and put our other stuff, because we want to let the vegetables get nice and cooked before because we've got our rice that's already cooked. So I've got some black wild rice, And you can get this at like Natural Grocer. I don't know if you can get it at Harmon's or other grocery stores, but I love this dark black rice. So good. Or you can just use a combination wild rice, that's got the different colors in it, would be fine. You could use regular brown rice, but I love for the holidays and just that, it's got a really nice earthy flavor. And then we're doing some lentils, and these lentils I cooked ahead of time. You just basically cook it kind of like rice, but they do cook, take a little bit longer to cook, about a half an hour to cook. Does anybody ever cook with lentils? Yeah, okay. And I think you can buy them in the store as well. But anyway, and then we'll put in some pumpkin seeds and some seasonings. Oh, in fact, let's put our seasonings in right now. I'm not really following the recipe. I just get going and talking and I forget stuff. So if you have any questions, please, if you're seeing something I'm not doing, please say something. Okay, so I'm going to just put in our holiday herb mix, and your holiday herb mix is on the back of your recipe sheet. Or you can just buy something. You can buy a holiday herb mix, I'm sure. And of course, you can use fresh herbs if you like. I'm a little bit of a lazy cook, so I do use fresh basil in the summer when I'm doing salads, but for winter stuff when I'm cooking, I usually stick with the dry. I'm going to put just a little bit more water in there.
That your diet follows the seasons a lot?
I do. I try to eat seasonally. I'm more apt to have. I'm apt to eat more salads, much more salads in the summer, less. In fact, by the end of winter, when I'm eating a lot more cooked food, I'm kind of like, oh, I just want some good salads. Not that you can't have a salad during the winter, but I have a tendency to want more cooked, warm kind of stuff. So. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna kick over here to this other pan and going to do some more onion and get our soup going. And this pan, I don't normally use Teflon, but instead of bringing another pan from home, I like to use this pan so I can kind of show you how I can saute in it without the oil thing. And then they just have the Teflon ones here, but I prefer not to use Teflon because of the chemicals in it and stuff. If you get it too high in temperature, it tends to send off those fumes. And we'll leave that. Okay, we're going to just chop another onion for our soup. I'm just going to saute some sweet onion and apple in my pan over here for a little bit. We're making a spiced pumpkin butternut soup, and we're going to blend this so we don't need to chop this onion up too fine, but we want to get those organosulfur compounds activated. Oh, actually, before you get chopping with that for the pie, let me use that chopper real quick with that larger blade now that you've got it all washed. I could just chop it by hand, I guess, but we'll just demo this thing again. And since we're doing apple, you don't have to wash it again. So we're going to actually cook some apple with this, and I think this is a Fuji apple. The apples we're doing for the pie are Autumn Glory. I wanted some Fujis, but they didn't have any Fujis, and these Autumn Glories were on sale at Natural Grocer, and they're organic. I always use organic apples because I want to use the peel, and the peel is often where a lot of the pesticides are. But if you can't get organic, can't afford organic, whatever, you can use conventional. Just wash them really good. These were like $1.69 a pound. Natural Grocer usually has an apple on sale that's pretty reasonable. So I try to always stick with organic. Apples are one of the Dirty Dozen. If you're familiar with the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, that just means that they have a high pesticide concentration. The Dirty Dozens do. Apples are one of them. Spinach is one of them. I think celery, peppers, strawberries are a big one, peaches are a big one. All those thin-skinned fruits and vegetables. So we'll just dump that in our pan with our onion. All right, there we go for that. And we're going to go with a little bit more garlic on that too. Some more garlic. So the key to this, like the stuffed winter squash recipe, I mean, you look at it, it's like, oh man, that's a really long recipe. But the stuff that makes it look long often, is the pre-cooked rice and the pre-cooked lentils. So what I try to do is think ahead of time, rather than come home from work and go, let's see, what's for dinner tonight? Oh, let's see, we can't have that because I don't have any rice cooked, I don't have any lentils cooked, and that's cooked way too long, and I want to eat sooner than what it's going to take me to cook that. So what I do, and this kale is actually looking like it might be, well, it needs to cook a little bit longer. So planning ahead. So I cooked this ahead of time. I cooked this ahead of time, and it really didn't take any time at all. Rice cooks, it takes like 20 minutes to cook that, 30 minutes to cook that. I just put those on when I get up in the morning, I'm getting ready for work, and they just cook while I'm getting ready. So they're getting ready, and you can just, oftentimes they'll just leave them on the stove, and they'll be fine when I come back at night. They're not going to go bad that quick. And so, anyway, they're ready to go. So that's one step. And then another step for like your soup is cooking your squash ahead of time. So how many people have tried to cut up a winter squash? Did you lose any fingers in the process? Because that is oftentimes something that could happen. I don't ever cook winter squash that way because it's just too hard. So what I do is I just put it in the oven, turn the oven on, and I cook it. Whoever thought, right? Don't you have to cut it open? Don't you have to poke it? No, you don't have to do any of that. Just put it in the oven and bake it. 375. So you can bake it however you want that way. I did on the back of your recipe sheet, I put how I bake the squash to make it really good. So when you cut it open and you cook it like that, the moisture is evaporating and it's kind of concentrating the flavors and making it really good and kind of browning it and stuff. And when you cook it whole, you're kind of keeping in the moisture, which is fine, especially when you're doing a soup. But I prefer to let it get a little bit brown, get some of the moisture out of there. So what I do is I put it in whole, and then after about 45 minutes to an hour, so acorn squash, what I'm doing tonight for the stuffed squash, that's about 45 minutes. Butternut squash, because it's got that thick kind of base, it takes about an hour. So I cook it for about an hour. I pull it out of the oven very carefully with my hot pads. I get a serrated knife and I just take off the stem if I need to, and it'll pop right off. And I take my serrated knife and just slice right down the center. Slice is very easy. It opens up, but you want to flip them on their belly so that they can finish cooking without getting too brown. I mean, if you don't mind them getting more brown, that's okay. But I flip them so they're open side down. And just, you can use a little spatula or something because they are hot. And then I cook them about another 15 minutes. And then depending on the size, sometimes I just cook them another 10. It kind of depends on the size. So this little one right here, I only cooked it like for another 10 because it started to get pretty done. And then after that 10 minutes, I flip it over on where it's up, and then let it brown, let it kind of, some of that moisture get out of there, evaporate, it concentrates the flavors, makes it really good, and it's just so good. And then, I don't mean you're not even peeling it. And so when it comes out, you can just take your peeling and it just pulls off really, mostly fairly easily. Sometimes it sticks a little bit, but I mean, look how easy that is just to peel right off. And you're not wasting a bunch in the peel. Yes? Yeah, I cooked this one for an hour. And then I cooked it for, just because the butternut squash, like I say, the base of it's pretty dense. And so it usually takes about an hour. Now the bowl of it, I don't know if that's what you call it, that's what I call it, the bowl of the squash, it'll get more soft. But I'm okay with getting it a little bit too soft. I'm okay with that. So yeah, and then I just cut it open. It was only about 10 minutes with it down, and then I flipped it, cooked it another 10 minutes up. And then it got a little bit brown and just concentrated the flavors. And so, yeah, it's good. Is that going okay? You know what? I would use this.
Okay.
I would use this. And hold on, I got to give Kayla some instruction here on my chopper. Let's see. Maybe I should have done it first, and then you can finish it off. Here, I'm going to show you how to use the chopper. So you put your cut apples down. Oh, and you want to probably just do one at a time.
Oh.
There we go.
Never take shortcuts.
There we go. There we go. Here, have me another couple, just for demonstration purposes. Whoop. And we're using a tiny small blade there that's going to make nice little strips. This is going to be a raw pie, so I want my apple strips just small like that. And you can use a knife if you want, but this is just so quick and easy for me.
Oh, that's so much easier.
My husband loves when I'm pounding on that thing. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We want to add a little bit of water to our apples. They're getting pretty much done. So, and I just cook those apples until the apples and onion until they're done, till they're soft. Okay, so you got the peeled off, and I did that with the rest of the squash. So you're going to start out with about a 3-pound squash. By the time it's cooked, you're going to have less than that, obviously. I keep it around 2 pounds. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but it's not that big of a deal if it's either way. So, all right. Let me cut back here to my kale. And we're going to put a little bit more water because I can tell it's kind of sticking a little bit, maybe. And it's probably overdone. What's that? Well, you taste it, and if it's tender, somewhat tender, I'm gonna. Oh, there we go. I thought maybe it was sticking a little bit too much, so it's not. It's fine. It's coming off good. So, this is probably a little bit overcooked, but it's okay because it's a stuffing, and we don't want chewy kale in here. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add our lentils. So 2 cups of cooked lentils. And about 2 cups of, it was a little over half a cup of the dry rice, and it ended up being more than a cup cooked, about 1.5 cups to 2 cups cooked. It cooks up a little bit more than I think brown rice for whatever reason.
That is so nice.
Yeah, she's gonna go buy herself one. Yeah, you can get those on Amazon. Target used to sell them. Bed Bath & Beyond used to sell them, but I don't know if they still do. I haven't bought one for a long time actually. They hold up quite well for the most part. Okay, and then I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds, and you can use walnuts or pecans. I love pine nuts in them, but at $22, $25 a pound, not going to happen. But the pumpkin seeds, I love pumpkin seeds. They're high in zinc and iron, and when you mix zinc and iron with citrus, which we are not doing there is a little bit of lemon in the pie. It increases the absorption of that zinc and iron. So just a little thing about that. But seeds are really a great source of protein. They're a great source of fiber, great source of minerals in general, along with that zinc and iron. In fact, seeds are higher in protein and higher in nutrients in general than your nuts. So, and if you think about it, seeds are much easier to eat than nuts. If we had to go out and pick nuts from a tree and eat them, we wouldn't be eating handfuls of them like we like to do, right? Seeds are a little bit easier. We can, you know, I don't know about pumpkin seeds, but sunflower seeds, they're really easy to get out of the shell and eat. So that's because they're more suited for us. Not that nuts aren't, but they're just harder to eat. So we shouldn't be eating so much of them. But they are healthy for us in, you know, smaller amounts. Now this right here, I just love to I would just eat it just like that, but I do love it mixed with a sweet squash. And this squash tonight, it's acorn squash. What I do with, I like to do acorn squash because it's got the bowl. And so you can serve it individually, just cook the squash, cut them in half, and then do like I was telling you, and then just fill the whole with some of this stuffing and then give one to each person. And it's a nice presentation and it's yummy. And tonight you're not getting a half a squash, just so you know. So I've got them cut, but you can we'll just have both, and you guys can put it on top if you want, or however you want to do it. So I am going to add some salt to this. I usually add about a teaspoon. You don't have to worry too much about salt if you're eating lots of plant foods because you're getting lots of potassium. When you have a good combination of potassium and sodium, it works better in your body to where it doesn't affect your blood sugar as much. Excuse me. You need a drink. Not that you should go add salt to your diet just because I said that if you've got high blood pressure. You don't want to do that. But, okay, so I'm just going to, that's done pretty much. So I think I'll just set that off to the side, or I'll just turn the burner off. One thing great about gas is that the heat goes right away. So, okay, so back to our soup. We've got, we're going to use my blender here. This soup I used to blend nuts into things, and I still do. I'll be doing that in my holiday class next month. But I have been trying to, I run onto people in my classes who have nut allergies. Does anybody here tonight have nut allergies? No? Okay, well that's good. And so I've kind of wanted to and I actually have developed a sensitivity to nuts, so I'm trying to get away from eating so many nuts. And so I've moved to like more starchy things. So instead of blending nuts to create a cream, I'm using potato. And our butternut squash is already creamy, but this is just going to add some more creaminess to it, and I'll talk about that in a second. But so what we're going to do with our onion and our garlic and our apples is we're going to pour it into our blender here. And then we're going to add some water. And if you don't have a potato, you could add a half a cup of cashews to this to make it creamy. Nuts are a great way to cream up some yummy, to make a nice, yummy, creamy, rich, creamy sauce. But we're just using the potato tonight. So I'm going to add in my spices, which are cayenne, allspice, nutmeg, and ginger. I got this recipe online and then made it my own by adding the potato to add some more cream, because I think the original recipe had like either milk or some kind of cream in it. And the original recipe didn't have cinnamon, but I thought this really probably needs some cinnamon, but I've just never, it would be really good with cinnamon, so, but it's not in there. So if you wanted to add some cinnamon, you could, which I think next time I will. I'll try it. Anyway, so it is your, let's see, your allspice, nutmeg, ginger, and pepper. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this potato. Now, this is a Japanese sweet potato. Has anybody ever cooked a Japanese sweet potato?
Where do you get them?
Natural Grocer has them. Yeah. They are amazing. They are, however, and it's because the inside, I guess, is because it's a white inside. It just tends to oxidize a little bit when you cook them. So they end up getting, if they sit for any very long, they'll get just a little bit brown. But this one actually doesn't look too bad. But they are so sweet, and they're like dessert. They're decadent sweet, love them. They're best come January. I think this time of year, it's like the crop from last year, which might be another reason why they turn a little bit more brown. I don't know, but they're still really good. Anyway, they're creamy. They're great for blending up into a soup, although I hate to because they're just so good to eat the way they are. But I cooked it in the oven ahead of time, actually with the squash. So I wrapped it in some tin foil, which I don't like to use a lot of, but I hardly ever use tin foil. So I just did it for this particular potato and just cooked it with the oven, and then I just tested it. Like after that hour, I tested it. It actually cooked a little bit longer. They usually take about an hour to an hour and a half to cook because they're very, very dense. And they're a little bit dry, so I like to I don't usually wrap them. What I usually do when I cook them is I'll use a cake pan, like my tin cake pans, and I'll like put it in the pan, and then I'll put the other one on top to cover it, so it's in kind of a dome kind of thing. And so it keeps the moisture in when it cooks, and it keeps them moist, because they are a little bit drier potato. I need to wash my hands just a little bit, they're getting sticky. Okay, so we're just gonna blend this up, get it nice and creamy. Oh, you know what? I forgot about that pan. I'm gonna reheat my soup. Fill the pan. It really doesn't need to be rinsed out. We're just gonna, oh yeah, let's go ahead and. Okay, and then we're just gonna add our squash. Gonna add all our squash in here, and hopefully, if I need to do it in batches, I will. And we'll probably want to add the rest of that, so it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I forgot we need to heat that back up, so. And let's see, we'll put that in there. And we'll put that. I don't know if we can fit it all. I don't want to overdo my blender. And I like to start with less water and add more if you need more, rather than add too much water and have it too thin. And I'm going to use some of that moisture in there to blend the rest. And this is a really nice sweet squash, so this will be really good. But sometimes later in the year, seems like they start to get to where they're not quite as good and sweet, but you could always add, I do have a squash soup where I add just a little bit of maple syrup, so you could do that if you need to, if you want a little bit more sweet. I need a little bit more water. Whoop! It's blowing up in my face. Okay, if you have a standard blender, not like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, you'll definitely want to do that in batches because obviously it was a lot. What's that? Somebody say something? Oh. And of course you can just thin this down the way you like it. Squash, your squashes, your winter squashes, and your, let's see, like cantaloupe and things like that that are high. Of course, all plant foods are high in carotenoid antioxidants, but you know, your squashes, your yellow, orange things, it's got your beta carotene, but beta carotene is actually one of about 600 carotenoid antioxidants that are in whole plant foods. And when you take a supplement, like a beta carotene supplement, I remember when the whole beta carotene thing came out and people were taking beta carotene supplements. Well, you're only getting one of those antioxidants when you take a supplement. When you're eating a whole food, you're getting hundreds of those nutrients plus many others that work together kind of like a symphony to make it complete and make it work best in your body. So we want to get our nutrients from whole foods. Okay, I'm going to probably want to get a lid for that. Maybe if I can find one that fits. So it doesn't, that might want to be thinned down just a little bit. Oh, let's see. Did we get any? I don't think we got any salt in there. We need some salt in that. And we'll go again, about a teaspoon, salt and pepper. We'll test that when it's done.
Question for you, what kind of salt do you use?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yes, real salt, Redmond real salt. It doesn't have iodine in it, and I have recently learned that is actually becoming a problem because they iodized the salt back in the, I don't know, 50s, 40s, 50s, whenever it was, because there was an iodine deficiency. And since then, I don't know if you've ever heard Dr. Brooke Goldner. She's listed on the back. She's my favorite, one of my favorite doctors. She works with a lot of autoimmune people, and a lot of problems she finds that they'll be doing really good, but they're just having a hard time getting past, and she finds out that their iodine's really low. And she tells them to eat a teaspoon of salt a day, and their iodine goes back up, and they do better. But that's iodized salt. So if you're eating a non-iodized salt, which is what I do, she recommends taking an iodine supplement. So, and I do that as well. I actually just started after I'd been following her program for a while. Okay, we're just going to let that heat, and we're going to move on to our salad. And that's still doing good, I think. Maybe I had to turn a little bit of heat on that just to make sure it's warm, good and warm. Simmer. Low, all the way low. Okay, we'll throw together our salad and then we'll be in business. We are just about there as far as time goes. I usually like to do, oh, let's see, we still got to do our pie. Yeah, let's do our pie. We're not quite as far along as I thought we were. I won't need this blender anymore. So, and this is 9 cups. Did you get 9 cups out of this? Was that all the apples?
Nope.
Oh, so there's more apples. Okay, wonderful. That's even better. Okay, so we won't need the blender anymore. We're going to use the food processor for this. So, oh, okay, let's see. Do we have, is the lemon not on there? Okay. So I am going to put some lemon on here to keep the apples. Really, they've already been sitting for a little bit. So, but I usually I should have had you do that to keep them from. But no, that's okay. So I do put a little lemon on here just to keep them from oxidizing while I'm chopping them and stuff. But it does add a little bit of flavor to the pie. So we'll go ahead and still add that, even though it's a little bit later. But that's okay. So, oh, I threw the lemon in the pan. Okay, we'll just stir that around. So we've got 9 cups of apples here, chopped apples, and we chopped them in our chopper like we were showing you. And so what we're going to do is we are going to, so when you're doing a pie, an apple pie or any kind of a fruit pie, you've got kind of a glaze that you are, how are those coming? They feeling warm? Okay, good. We want kind of a glaze on our fruit. And what I do is I make a glaze with the fruit. Last month I did, was anybody here last month? Any of you? Okay. The pie, didn't I do a berry pie? Did you like that? Oh, yeah. Good, good. So we're going to kind of do the same thing with this apple pie. This one's a little bit more like a crumble rather than a pie. We were not doing a crust. We're doing kind of more of a crumble. We are doing a crust as well, but so we're going to make a kind of a glaze with some of the apples. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some of the apples in this food processor. And how many apples do we want to put in our food processor? We're going to about a third. So we're going to put about 3 cups of apples in the food processor work bowl. An apple a day really does keep the doctor away. People who eat an apple a day have less breast, colon, kidney, and ovarian cancers. The more apples, the less tumors. And then we're going to put in some seasonings. We've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Actually, I'm going to put that in after I get blending that down, because the spices tend to kind of puff up when you do that, when you get it going. So I want to increase the sweetness of this. These are already pretty sweet apples, but this is just to increase the sweetness. And if you want to not use so many dates or less dates or not use dates at all, you can do that. But this is going to add some sweetness. It's also going to kind of add to your glaze of it. So I always use dates in all my dessert recipes. Sometimes raisins as well and other dried fruits. But dates are a whole food. All the parts of the plant are still there. It's the best sweetener you can use. You can blend these up and make a sauce and use it for any kind of sweetening. I make cookies, I make pies, I have made cakes. The cakes are very dense because I'm also using nuts, which makes it quite dense. I don't do cakes a whole lot, but muffins, anyway, they work great. So I'm going to put, this is about how many dates we got? 15. We got 15 dates. These are pitted. Make sure they're pitted. That we don't want to get this rolling and find we have a pit in there. That is not fun. I get these at Costco in a round tub over by the dried fruit section.
What kind of thing?
They're de Gletnor. De Gletnor, you can get them at Jewel's at Costco as well. They're a little bit more expensive. They're really decadent and soft and so good just to eat. I hate to blend those up. They're a little bit more expensive. And then, let's see, and then that's it. We're just going to grind this up and make our apple sauce. Will you hand me that green spatula? Thank you. And we're just going to kind of clean out the bowl or clean down the lid because that just goes like. I haven't. I didn't. A lot of times I do, but I don't want to add any more moisture to this. I want to keep it, I mean, you could, if they were a little bit dry, you could put a little bit of water in with them and let them sit, but I wouldn't put too much. And then we're going to go ahead and put in our seasonings, our spices, our cinnamon and all that good stuff. And kind of just stir that in a little bit so they don't go up all over the lid when I get that going. I lost my plug. And you can use a blender for this part if you want. I like the food processor because it's got the wider base and it's just a little bit easier to work with, even though you have to, I mean, the Vitamix or a blender would blend this up really well, really fine. But I have to use this for the crust anyway, so I just as soon not have to dirty two things. And it doesn't have to be blended clear down to totally smooth because our apple pie is kind of chunky anyway. So we'll go ahead and just add this to our, I won't need that anymore. I'm just going to add this to here.
Smells so good.
It does smell good. Okay, I'm just going to kind of clean off that blade a little bit and then, whoops. Whoop. People who eat an apple a day have 24% less breast cancer. It stops all stages of tumor growth. I already said that. Potent antioxidants are in the peel. There's 10 times more effective at stopping cancer than the flesh of the apple. There's more antioxidants in the peel. And we all know what, hopefully, antioxidants, we hear the word antioxidants. I want you to think from now on when you hear the word antioxidant, I want you to think anti-aging, because that's what antioxidants do. They protect your cells and keep you from aging. Just like that lemon. The lemon is an antioxidant for these apples. You put that lemon juice on the apples and it keeps it from turning brown as much. Antioxidants do the same type of thing in your body. Scientists believe we get over 10,000 oxidative hits a day on our body, and that comes from basic metabolism, digestion, comes from being exposed to, carcinogens in the environment, smells, whatever. And even exercise creates oxidation. So we need to eat lots of antioxidants. So if you imagine your cells turning brown, kind of like that apple, if we're eating lots of antioxidants, it protects our cells, keeps us from aging, keeps our skin nice, keeps our cells from turning into cancer cells. The antioxidants help to lower cholesterol, lower risk of type 2 diabetes. Studies show 28% lower risk with an apple a day of diabetes. It's got good bacteria. Most of the bacteria, though, is in the core and in the seed, which we don't ever eat, but there's about 10 times more in the core and the seed than in the flesh. And we want to have a good microbiome, a good bacteria in our gut. And our gut is not just from our lips to the other end, it's all over your body. You've got a microbiome or that good bacteria in your nose, in your ears, in your eyes, in your breast tissue, everywhere. It's everywhere in your body. And you want to feed those little bugs, those microbes, some good, healthy fiber. That's what they live on, is fiber. If you're eating a low fiber, low carb, high protein, low fiber diet, you're starving your gut. I had a gal come here one time and said that she's destroyed her gut on a keto diet. And that's because she wasn't getting any fiber. Fiber reduces inflammation in the body. A good gut microbiome is related to good brain function, good immunity, hormone balance, weight balance, and digestion. Okay, so we are going to, this is our pie insides, so we want to make our crust now, and we're just going to set that off to the side. I got to make sure I keep everything straight, and I forgot to put vanilla in my apples, so I'm going to go ahead and add that vanilla now, and we'll have Kayla just stir that in when you get a moment. Okay, so our crust is going to be a nut, oat, date combination. So I'm using, so this is a pretty high fat, pretty decadent pie, but it's super yummy, and relatively healthy. It's not something you want. In fact, I tell people with my desserts, because I do use a lot of nuts and dates for my desserts. I tell them, when you make this, make sure you have a lot of friends to share them with, because your brain plays tricks on you and tells you that it's so healthy that you can have as much as you want, right? At least it does for me. And it's still very high fat, very, high calorie. So if weight loss is a goal, you definitely don't want to be eating too much of this. So we're going to go ahead and put some dates in here again, just to make it a little bit sticky. And we want to make sure the pit's out. So even though it says pitted, make sure you give those a squeeze, because I always find pits. And it's no fun digging out a pit after you get it going. So we'll go ahead and add our vanilla to that. And before we add the oats, we are going to just process this and get this kind of sticky. Oh. So what I want that to do is to get kind of sticky. And what's really yummy about this right here is you can grind that clear down to where it's kind of I want to say flaky, but more finely ground. Add in some cocoa powder, add in some coconut, add in some dried cranberries or something, roll it in balls and have it for your Christmas treat so you stay out of the Christmas candy. So very good. I've got quite a few truffle recipes that I love to do over the holidays. In fact, I've got all those some little mini videos on my Instagram. It's just Health for Life Cooking. And I did, over the holidays last year, I did a recipe every week from I think it was like the middle of November clear till January 1st. And then I ran out of, I didn't run out of them, but I was like, well, the holidays are over. I'll just do something else, and then I kind of never got back onto it. I have done some recipes since then, but check it out if you want just some little quick videos. And I'll have the recording tonight, and I actually have a lot of my community education classes from the past on my YouTube channel, which is Health for Life Cooking, as well as my website, which is healthforlifecooking.com. So everything Health for Life Cooking, the 4 is a number 4. We're going to go ahead and continue to process. Okay, so I want to add some oats to this, and I want to keep the oats. I don't want to grind this down to a fine powder, super sticky, like you could do a crust. So you could totally do just a crust on this, like I did the berry pie last month. By the way, my berry pie is kind of the same, basically the same type of thing, except instead of berries, I'm using a triple berry combination or any kind of a berry combination, and I'm blending some of the berries with the dates, making that glaze, pouring it over the whole berries, and then doing kind of a crust kind of like this. So, but I want to keep this crumble crust a little bit chunky. So we're going to go ahead and add that 1/2 cup of rolled oats, and I'm just going to briefly chop that in. Let's see, we're just going to pulse. And you can, if you prefer to have that ground down more fine, you can, but I kind of like it.
What kind of nuts did you put in there?
Oh, thank you for asking. I don't think I said. Almonds and pecans. Yeah, 3/4 cup of almonds, 3/4 cup of pecans. And you want to have you could probably do all almonds, but it works a little bit better if you've got a dry nut with a more oily nut. So if you used all pecans, it's going to get a little bit too sticky because of all the oils, but almonds are a little bit more dry, so it has a nice balance. Okay, so we're going to take some of this and we're going to put it in the bottom of our pan. Just enough for probably like a cup, maybe about half of it. I just kind of estimate. And we want enough to be able to mash it on the bottom of our pan to where it covers it. And you can just kind of move it around. This is about a 8.5 by 10 maybe. Just your kind of your regular cake size pan. And if you want a thicker crust, of course you can go more nuts. You could do a few more oats if you wanted. Let me move this over so you guys can see a little bit better. That's about right there. And just kind of push it down there fairly even. And if you need to put in a little piece in the corner there, that works. By the way, dates are a good source of vitamin A, iron, potassium, calcium, manganese, copper, magnesium. They're high fiber, high antioxidants. They can include lignans. Lignans convert to phytoestrogens in the body. In fact, fibers in general are good phytoestrogens, and phytoestrogens are really good for you because they take the place of the estrogens that your body produces on its own. So if you've got lots of phytoestrogens from plants, it blocks the receptors, your estrogen receptors, and keeps your body from absorbing the harmful estrogens. Okay, so that just about went on the floor. Okay. Okay, we're going to put our apples on top of that crust. I just thought, I guess that's just staying nice and warm is all. That's good. This would be a nice way to do apples or even applesauce, a sweetened applesauce with some dates, so you're not having to put sugar. But you could do this type of a thing and put it on top of pancakes or, you know. I used to love applesauce on pancakes, which was kind of weird, I know, but that was something I kind of got into when I was trying to eat healthier. Yeah, and I actually put it with peanut butter too, because I always loved peanut butter on pancakes. So peanut butter with applesauce on top.
Peanut butter is a guilty pleasure.
Yes, yes, it's definitely one of those. And I just kind of make it nice and smooth like so. And then there's that. And then we're going to take our topping and just kind of crumble it over the top. And this isn't going to completely cover it. And again, you could do more of the crust if you wanted more of a, but this is just kind of a light coating of the apples. But this is already pretty rich, so you want to not put too much. Okay, there's that. All right.
I was worried I shorted you on apples, but that filled that up perfectly.
Yeah, that was perfect. Okay, we're going to put this back here because you can't have any until you have you can't have any until you have your vegetables, right? Oh. And of course, I still got to do my my dressing, so I am gonna need my blender. I thought I was done with the blender. So we're gonna do our salad really quick. I'm gonna show you how to do a really yummy salad dressing, which I like to show often because salad is one of the best things that you can do for your body. A raw leafy green salad. I try to get one in every day, even during the winter. Best thing you can do for your body. Raw foods are it. They're the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods. Raw leafy greens. If you got any inflammatory issues, rheumatoid arthritis, any kind of thing, anything like that, just your raw vegetables are your best. Okay, so what I've got here is my dressing ingredients, and let's see. Let me grab a knife or something to stir that. I'll just use that. So what I've got here is I've got all my ingredients in this jar soaking, just to kind of simplify things. Fruity greens with sweet balsamic dressing. This is the sweet balsamic dressing. It's got balsamic vinegar, water, a tablespoon of chia seeds, which is going to help to thicken. Chia seeds are one of your best omega-3 sources, but you got to grind them to get the omega-3 fatty acids. Those are anti-inflammatory fatty acids. Best thing for inflammation, again, along with your greens. Half a cup of raisins, so I'm using raisins instead of dates. You could use dates. I use dates most of the time in my dressing, but the raisins is just a nice addition to a balsamic vinaigrette, because balsamic vinegar is oftentimes made with grapes, right? And then I've got some Dijon mustard and 1 small clove of garlic that I'm actually going to add. But I've got everything soaking in this jar, in the water, the balsamic vinegar. This is going to soften the dates, soften the seeds, so everything blends up really nicely. So I'm just going to dump that all in my blender jar. And I know that that's going to need could use a little bit more water. So we are going to, just add a little water to that. Make sure we get all the goods out of there. And then I'm going to add just a little tiny clove of garlic. And if you like a lot of garlic, you can put more garlic, but this is the kind of thing I use the inside, like the inner part of your garlic bulb, where it's got all those little tiny garlic cloves that you don't want to, you just throw away. I know I do, because I don't want to be bothered with them. I just put them in things like this. In fact, I'll even use the skin if I'm using an organic garlic. And I'm going to make you wash that chopper again, Kayla. Thank you. And there is a nice dressing, and it's got some thickness to it, as you can see. I guess you can see that okay. You could add a little bit more water if you wanted to thin it down, but we're going to mix it into our salad. Thank you so much. The small one. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're just going to, so what I've got in my bowl here is I've got a spring mix. And I got that at Smith's. You can get them at Costco. You can get them pretty much anywhere.
Some of them have a funny smell to me.
Really? I've never noticed a funny smell. But yeah, they're organic. At least they say they're organic. Maybe that was the problem. Yeah. So I'm using a Granny Smith apple for this. And just cut out the core. And I'm using a pear, one Granny Smith apple. And you can just slice, chop, however you want to do this apple. But I like to get the small chop so it kind of gets distributed throughout the salad nicely. And you could make things a little simpler probably by cutting those down even further. Maybe not that much easier. There we go. So we've got one Granny Smith apple. I've also got my purple cabbage in there as well. I went ahead and added that. And then the pear I'm using is a red Angers, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But that's my favorite pear. You could use a Bartlett. I'm not crazy about Bartlett pears.
It's hard to find when it's not in season.
Bartletts are? Oh, just pears. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't ever do pears any other time but like fall, this time of year. Because they are definitely a fall fruit. This gal that I listened to online, I haven't listened to her for a long time, but I really like her, Barbara O'Neill. She talks about fruits and how they grow in season, and it's good to eat food in season. I think that the different fruits, the different foods and how the seasons they grow in are specifically good for different systems in your body. Like tomatoes, for instance, are good to protect your skin from the sun damage, and they grow. When do they grow? July, August is when they're ripe. So, and she just recommends to take a break from fruit for the winter. We got our fall apples and pears, enjoy those, and then like January through May, whenever, take a break from your fruits. Although we have pomegranates in October, but we really don't have fruits that grow during the winter, and that just makes sense to me. Not that I am really good at doing it, because I love fruit. And apples do store well through the winter. So, and then we're going to do some red onion, and we'll chop that with our chopper as well. And we can do as much or as little red onion as you want. I'm only going to do about a quarter of this red onion. Actually, we'll go a little bit more on that. Red onions have your most antioxidant capacity. The red or the purple. Anything that's super dark color, we know is high in antioxidants. Okay. Now for sure, I'm done with the chopper. Okay, then we're going to get our dressing, which is here, and we're going to go ahead and just mix this in just to make things a little more simpler. But I'm not going to go too crazy on the amount because where's my big spoon? Oh, there it is right there. Like this one right here. Yeah. Although I might need to toss, so I'll use that one too. So I'm just going to add the dressing to this, some of it, not all of it. And then if I don't get quite enough and you want to have a little bit more, you can always add a little bit more. We'll kind of just see. I'll have Kayla test it and see what she thinks if we need more. We'll just toss that right in there. Yeah, the one bad thing about doing this is you guys have to eat it all because I don't want to waste any. And What's that? Yeah. I think it needs probably a little bit more. And your recipe says 5 to 6 cups of lettuce. Oh, 5. But you can just however much you need for the group you've got. Or if it's just one, if it's just you and you're doing a salad just for yourself, you could just do a half of an apple, half of a pear, and put however much dressing you want. It'll keep a few weeks. With the vinegar and the dates, the high sugar, the vinegar, yeah, it keeps pretty good. If anything, it might get a little fermented. Whoops. Kayla, would you like to grab a fork and come try this? See if I need more dressing on this. Oh, I haven't put the pumpkin. Go ahead and taste. I haven't put the pumpkin seeds in it yet. So, you can have a bigger taste than that. Is it perfect? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add, your recipe says a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, and I got looking at that thinking that's not very much for the large salad that it is. So I did about 3 tablespoons, and I did toast them on a dry skillet. So So we'll just dip that in there like so. All right. There we are. So everything is good and done. I'll put that, well, there's not a whole lot left to even worry about there, but. All right, I am going to pull that squash out, and we have hot pads. I don't remember if I have hot pads or not. Where's our?
Oh, do you want to put it on a towel?
Oh, let's put it on a towel. Yeah, we'll just put it on a towel. You can just lay that out there and all. So we'll take our squash out. I've had this in the oven just heating for a little while. That counter could probably handle the heat anyway. I think it's granite. So again, this is acorn squash. You just put a little dollop of the dressing on top of the squash or to the side, and you can just eat it. I mean, however you want. Their skin is actually still on that, so I don't think the skin's very good to eat. Some squashes you can eat the skin, but not necessarily this kind. So, and then we will use that spoon for that, I guess. And we'll put that hot pad. So you can just grab you a squash and then put some of that on top or to the side or whatever. And we'll get some soup for you. Let's see, like a ladle.
Oh, perfect.
There's a ladle. We're just going to leave this soup really thick like that because this pan's really like full. So, and we have our little, we have our bowls over here and spoons, forks. Just put those over there. You want to just take them out of there too. That's what I need to bring next time is. So we've got those little bowls we have more of those little bowls. We'll do, actually we'll serve your dessert for you. And your salad. So salad and squash on a plate, and your soup in a bowl, and I think you're in business. So if you guys want to come up and help yourself. We'll serve up that.
Are so much smaller than mine.
Oh, are they? Those are, yeah, tiny gloves. Let's see how many people we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I want to make sure. I guess I could look at the sign-up sheet. Did everybody sign the sign-up sheet? Oh, okay. I want to make sure we got that pie divided up so we got plenty. I don't think everybody. So did everybody sign this? Yes. Everybody that's here? Okay. Oh, you didn't? I did. Oh, you did. Okay. Because I'm missing a few people. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I noticed maybe 2.
Huh?
You had 1 or 2 open seats.
Okay. 15. So we'll go conservative on the pie. I mean, we want to make sure we get enough for everybody. So let's see. If we went 4 by 4, that's 16. So we'll just plan like 20 servings. And that way you can have a little extra. So like just kind of eyeball it. We don't need to cut it, but like just kind of, well, maybe that would be a good idea to actually cut it. And that way, so like 5 the lengthwise and then 4 this wise. Or maybe it'd be better to go 6 and 3. I don't know. 6 and 3 or 5 and 4. 5 and 4 would give us plenty. and it's pretty deep. So let's go 6 and 3 or 5 and 4. So you can just kind of eyeball it. Yeah. Although maybe 6 would be easier. It's even. And if it's not exact, it's going to be fine. Yeah. Just the best you can do is fine.
Oh, I know how.
Let's see. Do you guys have everything you need and all the spoons that you need for, we got spoons and stuff right there. I hope everything's hot. It's so hard to keep everything hot.
Kate, did you say you were on Instagram or YouTube or both?
Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
Oh, so
I don't do much with Facebook, but I don't do much with anything right now. I work full time, so it's like I have a hard time doing that as well. But I'd like to do more. I really would like. I loved doing the Instagram because they were so easy. My videos, I used to do some in-home videos where I would, it'd be like a 10-minute video where I'd do a recipe, but it just, but it just took more time, and I worried about more stuff. And the Instagram is not, you don't see my face except at the very end. So I can just kind of turn on the camera when I'm just making whatever.
Right.
And just show what I'm doing. And so.
So do you have any new cookbooks?
Any new? I just have the 2.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I've thought they're on my website, but if you're interested, healthforlifecooking.com. Yeah, I'm surprised that I didn't. I always put that on there. I'm surprised I didn't put that on there. You're right, I didn't put that on there. Yeah, healthforlifecooking.com, and my email is just healthforlifecooking@gmail.com. So it's all Health for Life Cooking. If you're interested in those, I'm not supposed to sell them and bring them here, which is fine.
They're
But
really
if
good cookbooks.
if you're
You rinse your salad greens? Or
I
just
don't.
put 'em right in?
They're
I know
yeah.
They
They say
pre-washed.
pre-washed, and yeah, I just. I didn't even taste that soup to see if it needed more salt. So if it needs more salt. Huh? Yeah, we can go ahead and serve, put that up if you want to scoop that. In fact, do you want a spoon? Would that be, or was that going to work okay?
We'll see. Actually, a spoon would probably be better.
Oh, let's see. I guess we did get the bowls out there.
You were saying before you got here that a mushroom a day reduces your, one button mushroom a day reduces your risk of cancer too. Oh. I know you told me they were real good.
So all these foods, as I think I mentioned, are really high, are very rich in fiber, lots and lots of fiber, which is so important for us. People often wonder, where are you getting your protein, and you worry so much about protein. And we don't need to worry about protein. We need to worry about fiber. We get plenty of protein. Vegetarians have a tendency to get double the protein that they need, so we don't need to worry about that. In fact, I didn't talk about greens being high in fact, let's talk about greens for a minute, because they are so high in everything. They're high in calcium. So where does the cow get her calcium from that's providing that milk? She's eating leafy greens all day long. Greens are a really great source of calcium. In fact, a 4-ounce serving of steamed kale has as much calcium as 1 cup of milk, and you're absorbing the calcium from the greens much easier than you are from the milk. In fact, your body absorbs 50% of the calcium from greens and only 35% of the calcium from milk. And with the milk, you're also getting saturated fat, you're getting cholesterol, you have no fiber in milk. The green leafy vegetables are high in fiber, no saturated fat, no cholesterol, thousands of micronutrients that are so good for your body.